or drink another thing, I'm gonna explode.
She makes pretty good breakfast.
Oh, yeah. She's a real down-home cook.
Good lady, too.
Yeah. It's the whole thing with the whole Davidson family. They're all good people.
I know.
You took it, too, didn't you?
What?
The old guilt trip.
No.
In front of Lori.
Well, yeah. You?
Yeah.
You know, I went over to see her the other day when I was trying to cheer her up. She started crying.
She knows.
About what?
About us.
What? Come on. How could she know? What makes you say that?
I know that she knows.
How?
I just feel it. Call it women's intuition, okay?
Call it guilt.
You two have enough to eat?
Yeah, you're a great cook.
Fantastic pancakes.
Well, you can't run a restaurant for a couple of 100 years and not learn how to cook. More coffee?
I'm stuffed,
Listen, I'll have just half a cup.
All righty.
That's plenty, thank you. Oops.
Well, Russ, bet you're pleased to see Lori looking so well so soon. Before long, she'll be up and around and ready for wedding bells. When's the big day?
Well, I don't know. We really haven't decided on anything exactly.
I do believe you're blushing. And I thought I was the only Victorian in this neck of the woods.
Well, you know, medical school takes 4 years, so...
Oh, yes, but Lori will want to help with that. Young marrieds always do.
Look, speaking of school, I've got to get back, Sport. I have the econ class today.
Econ today?
It's a makeup quiz.
Oh,
Today.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, listen, Mrs. Lindsay, thanks for the breakfast. It's really good.
Oh, that's all right. This old house enjoys having young guests. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and you're both welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks for the hospitality.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
I'm worried about Lori and Russ.
Oh?
Well, we've assumed that they're going to be marrying soon, and that's fine. But not once have we thought about anything else.
Well, what else? They're well matched, and they're certainly in love.
Suppose they fall out of love.
Well, how can you think that?
That's my point. We haven't thought about it. Suppose something happens. I mean, after all, the accident put a huge strain on both of them. It's not unheard of that two people can change affections after something like that, is it?
No, of course not. They seem closer than ever now. Russ has been very supportive.
Did you notice anything at dinner last night?
Yeah, the roast beef was fantastic. Done just right. Is that what you mean?
No, silly. Becky and Russ.
What about them?
They're fond of each other.
Well, they're very good friends.
No, it's more than that. I felt it. They're very fond of each other.
Are you telling me that Lori is heading for another big letdown?
I'm saying we'd better prepare ourselves for that possibility.
Hey, Mom. What's wrong with Lori? I just looked in on her. She's crying her eyes out. What's up, Dad?
You got me, son. How about some breakfast?
I'll fix it. Hey, Dad.
Yes?
Think I could go to Kingsley this weekend with Mark Cullen? I'm thinking about putting in our application for next year.
Well, that's right. You're graduating in June. That's incredible.
What, am I graduating?
Oh, no. The fact that you're going to college next year, I don't believe it.
Yeah. Well, I don't either. You know, Kingsley has this really great orientation program for high school seniors. You go up and spend the weekend, sleep in the dorms, eat in the cafeteria, and just get a tour of the college.
Well, it's a wonderful idea, Peter. Did you tell your mother?
No. Things have been kind of crazy around here.
Well, we didn't mean to neglect you.
I understand, Dad. Hey, you think I could go this weekend?
Of course. Here. You'll need some cash.
Dad, I have my allowance.
Now, I don't want you walking around Kingsley with 30 cents in your pocket. Now, take this.
This is $50.
Oh, you don't have to spend it all at once, you know.
Thanks. I'll bring you the change.
All I want you to bring me is a report of a good time. Now, that's very important.
You bet.
Now, one thing more, Peter. Don't do anything out of line, okay? You're there to see the college, not make yourself conspicuous.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I think it's best that we stay alert this next few weeks. That drug bust put a big crimp in the plans of the local mob. No telling how they're going to react.
I see. Low profile.
Good boy.
Yeah.
How is she?
Weepy.
Mom, what's wrong with her?
It happens. A lot of bedridden patients at home after a hospital stay get the blues.
Gotta run, honey.
Call me later, okay?
Right.
Mom, what is it really? I mean, she was crying buckets up there. What's wrong with her?
Did you have anything to eat?
I have this bowl of cereal.
Well, that's not enough. Sit down. I'll make you an egg.
No, this is okay.
Peter, sit down. And have some orange juice, too.
What'd you do with it?
What did I do with what?
Where is it? I need a drink.
Oh, your bottle of whiskey? I poured it down the sink.
What for? What'd you do that for?
Why do you need a drink at 9:30 in the morning? When you can answer that question, you'll know why I did it.
Get lost, will ya?
Well, Jeff, now what do we do?
What do we do about what?
Well, here we are again. You're drunk. You've lost your job. Not because you couldn't handle it, you were doing beautifully, but because you can't drink. You mustn't drink. You shouldn't drink. You know that. Still, here we are again.
Don't you ever shut your mouth and give it a rest? You're the one that didn't want me to go to work for Capital, right?
You're right. I didn't approve of it, but at least it was a job with a paycheck attached to it. Now we've got nothing. Nothing. Everyone in town knows you're an alcoholic. Everyone except you. There's just no chance that you're going to get another job around here, ever.
Come on, Liz, lay off, can't you? You can see I don't feel so good, so what are you griping at me for again? You know I'm lucky to be alive, you know it?
You call this alive? Will you look at yourself? A corpse in the morgue looks better than you do.
Keep it up. Keep up with the mouth and you wish you hadn't.
Oh, really? You're going to punch me out like you did Jenny?
Leave me alone. I can't eat. I can't sleep. All I can see is that poor dumb mechanic and what I did to him.
What are you talking about now?
I thought I told you, remember? I was really out of it one night, and I was in the car. The car Capital gave me to rent, and it had a dent on the fender. I couldn't remember how it got there. Couldn't remember anything, and then I came home, and you were telling me about Laurie Davidson and the accident, and I knew that I came back on the same road the accident was on. Well, I couldn't remember anything about it.
Jeff, you told me that you thought that you hit Russ Weaver's car, but that you weren't the hit-and-run driver.
That's right, I wasn't. It wasn't me, Liz. I thought it was me, but it wasn't. It was somebody else. And then I went to Roanoke, and I had that Herb Crane fix the car. He was a poor, dumb slob mechanic. He tried to get greedy. He found out I worked for Capital, and he must have heard it on the radio about the hit and run, and he put it together and figured it was me, and he put the bite on Trench.
He tried to blackmail Nick Trench?
Yeah, he tried to stick him for money. He said he'd keep his mouth shut if Trench would buy him off, and that's what they did, all right. He kept his mouth shut. They killed him, just like that.
It's horrible.
And I helped him do it, Liz. It was my fault.
Do they know that?
Of course they know it.
Well, they still fired you.
Yeah, they don't need me anymore. They got a string around my neck. Whenever they want me, they just reel it in. There I am.
You've got to get another job, someplace else.
It ain't gonna be in this town. I'm finished here.
What are you going to do, Jeff?
For money? Get unemployment. Stay away from everybody. Who knows?
Jeff, we can't get by on unemployment. You know that. What about the mortgage payments?
You, could always ask your daddy for a loan. Handout.
I'll go to work. I'll talk to Scott tomorrow. He knows a lot of people in town.
No, you're not talking to the Davidsons, Liz. You're staying away from them. You're not asking them for nothing. You got me?
What are you saying?
I'm telling you to stay away from the preacher man. You might as well get ready for Mr. Davidson's funeral. Just kiss him goodbye. He was in on the Coast Guard bust, Liz. Nick Trench knows all about it, so just kiss preacher boy goodbye.
How does Nick Trench know what I told you?
Are you kidding? They got informants everywhere. They know what happens. Nothing gets by them.
You told him what Terry told me.
If I did, and mind you, I'm not saying I did, I could have saved my life.
If you did, and I think you did, you could cause Scott's death. Oh.
Good morning, darling. You're running a little late, aren't you?
Hi, Mother. Late for what?
Well, we were going to the big sale at Wardell's today, don't you remember?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, your enthusiasm overwhelms me. I thought you'd at least want to shop the specials.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I've been so preoccupied I can't seem to get anything into focus. We can go, but let me finish up here first, all right?
Okay, can I help?
No, thanks. I'm almost done.
What are you out of focus about?
Lori.
Why, that's foolish. She's getting better by leaps and bounds. And she's almost all the way through college, and she's got a fine young man. I was asking Russ this morning about the wedding date, and do you know he actually blushed? I didn't think they made them like that anymore.
If I were you, I wouldn't count on a wedding too soon, if at all.
I see. Something not right, huh?
Well, it's just a hunch, but we ought to be prepared. I think some trouble's brewing between the two lovebirds, as much as I hate to say it.
Uh-oh, and there I was at breakfast, shooting off my big mouth about wedding plans. No wonder he was blushing.
Well, now, first of all, you didn't know. And secondly, I may be wrong, and I hope I am wrong.
That's sad, and I was looking forward to buying a new dress. I do need a new dress. Tell me, what does Scott say about all this?
Well, he's been so preoccupied with his work, he hasn't noticed anything.
Funny, just when you think things are getting better, troubles start to pile up again. I do wish sometimes that your husband were not so much of a firebrand.
So do I. Make things a lot easier for us, wouldn't it? Why couldn't he have learned to be a plumber or pump gas when he was a kid?
Well, he's no do-it-yourselfer, I'll tell the world. Do you remember that latch he fixed on my kitchen cabinet? Well, now I have to kick the door to get it open.
Well, why didn't you tell him?
Oh, no, thanks. Once is enough. But you know, he is a fine newscaster. Good sound point of view. And he speaks so well, I sometimes find myself applauding right there in the middle of the living room. I do feel sorry about Lori, though. More heartache on top of all her troubles.
Oh, I hope to heaven my feelings are wrong. I don't want to give up on her. You know, she's not fluffy dreams and nonsense. She's, well, I sound like a doting mother. But she's a special sort of young woman. And she won't hide from reality. She'll face what comes.
Just like her mother.
And her mother's mother.
Now, what I'm asking you is a very simple thing. You both knew the shipment was coming in. What steps did you take to anticipate trouble? Well, Nick?
Well, Vince, we've had this same kind of pickup plenty of times before. I mean, there was never any problem. All the people were paid off weeks ago.
I see. Nothing. Charles?
My primary responsibility is Dearborn Express and the men who handle the trucks.
Your primary responsibility is to get the job done. You're in charge of this region. That means in charge of everything.
I didn't know that.
That's right. You didn't. You didn't do anything.
Don't you think we ought to find out where the leak is? I have a feeling that the informer is very close to home.
It isn't anyone around here. Maybe in Marseille or someone on the crew member of the freighter. Anyway, that's being checked out. It's not your concern.
I see.
What does concern you both is what goes on in your region. Now, what's going on down here?
Now, exactly what does that mean?
I get my reports from my people in this area, and what I hear makes me very uneasy. I don't like that. We're letting the Coast Guard run us ragged. What about this tin-horn congressman who's spouting off the Capitol? And most of all, what about Davidson? On television. He's cutting us to ribbons in public. Is that any way to run a store?
I can solve all your problems for you, Vince. Just give me the word.
No, you can handle some things that way. But, you can't stop a public protest once it gets started, and this thing is sounding out loud and clear. Tell me, Nick, you've got some personnel problems. What about this salesman with can't keep his nose out of the juice? What's his name? Cummings.
Jeff Cummings. No problem. He's gone. I put him on a long leash in case we ever need him again.
Good. And what about this Russ Weaver?
He's got 30 days to pay up, or else.
No, we don't want money from him.
Well, Vince, you told me it was
I know what I told you. Think of the problem. You want to calm public opinion, right? You want to stop Davidson's mouth. He's costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars every week.
I'll shut his mouth for you. Just give me the word.
Wrong again, Nico. You take out Davidson, you wouldn't believe the noise the righteous would make.
Well, then what do you want from me?
You two have got a few things to do right away. First of all, Nico. Since Weaver's girlfriend is Davidson's daughter, you tell that football player to stop Davidson from broadcasting about drugs, or we'll do it for him. Is that clear?
Clear.
Charles, after I leave here tonight, I want you to take charge, and I want some action. You go after that loudmouth congressman. With your connections, you ought to know how to get a hold of him. You let him know he should be paying attention to getting votes.
All right, Vince. Anything you say.
Now, what about that clown in the Coast Guard? My report says that he's showing off on television how we ship the stuff.
Vince, I think you better not mess with him, at least not yet. There's too much public attention, you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Well, everybody says he's a big hero.
Besides, you don't want to take on the U.S. Coast Guard.
No? Why not?
Oh, Terry, I'm sorry to bother you, but I thought that you should know that I'm leaving for the weekend at my parents'.
Oh, I think that's sensible. They'll be happy to see Jenny. Won't you sit down a minute? You look all in.
Oh, thank you. I will for a moment. I must look a fright. I can't seem to get a decent night's sleep in that house anymore.
Jeff again?
Yes, he was fired from Capitol.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But it could be a blessing in disguise, don't you think? You didn't want him to work there in the first place.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that he'll be better off the further away he gets from that bunch. You see, oh, Terry, I don't know how to tell you this, but it's really the reason that I came over. I think that you ought to know that Jeff told Nick Trench everything that you told me about the drug raid that Scott went on.
I didn't think you could be so worked up over a weekend trip to your parents.
But Terry, don't you see that if Trench knows that Scott had something to do with it, that Scott's life is in danger, and Gene Redland's too?
You're overreacting, Liz. Now just calm down, please.
Oh, it's just that so much is happening right now. I mean, first Jeff's job, and then no job, and then...
Slowly now.
Just never knowing whether he's going to come home or not. And that terrible woman that he's carrying on with, I can't tell you what the smell of her perfume does to me when he comes home at night. I don't know what he'll do when he finds out that I've left. This time it's for good. I can't take any more, Terry. The way that he treated Jenny, I can never forgive him for that. Never. And I just don't know what to do about getting a job and putting Jenny in a daycare center.
Well, first of all, Liz, you can pull yourself together, okay? You're running on like some of my patients at the hospital.
Oh, I am, aren't I?
There. That's better. And Liz, why don't you ask the Lord for some peace of mind?
Well, I've...
Won't you try it, please? Just this once.
Oh, Terry, you know, I'm really sorry to have bothered you. Really, I am. But, you know, I have to get going. Oh, I have to pack.
You look as if you've been snorkeling.
I got caught without my umbrella.
Well, come on in and dry off a minute.
Hey, I don't want to drip all over your floor. you
Oh,
know.
that's all right. Nick won't mind at all. You know, Norman, I've been thinking over your situation here at Capitol, and particularly that little conversation we had when you first got here.
Yeah?
About your military record, remember?
Yeah, well, come off it, Mr. Carpenter. I know what you're going to say.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, you're looking for someone who knows how to handle a gun and isn't afraid to use it, right?
What makes you say that?
Nick told me. That's why I came over here, even in the rain.
I see. Well, then, you won't object to any expansion of your duties?
Object. Just point me at the target and say when. Who do you want me to hit, Davidson?
Oh, good heavens, no. You and I are just exploring a few possibilities. You see, if we expand your duties, we also increase your salary. So, you're ready for action, if I understand you correctly.
Why not? What do I have to lose?